Hello, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for joining me here today on Narcissism 101, Cracking the Code with me, Paul Wisdom. All right, so before we get into what we're going to talk about today, like usual, if you want a one-on-one session, you can email me at paul.wisdom underscore 03 at hotmail.com, or you can send me a text message at 647-406-3057. If you want to talk, if you want to vent, if you need advice, I'd be more than happy to help you out with your situation. If you even want to call, just send a text to that number. Just let me know that you want to call and you want to talk about your narcissistic experience. And I'd be more than happy to get you the help that you need according to your situation. Okay, so what we are going to talk about today, guys, is, and the title of my video today is, You Are Not Being Heard. Yes. You are not being heard. Unfortunately, if you're dealing with a narcissist and you just found out, let's say that your spouse or your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your parent, or your sibling, anybody, you can replace it with anybody, any human being, it doesn't matter what it is. You've probably noticed that you felt that you are always explaining yourself. You always felt during that relationship, during that marriage, that you always feel as though you're explaining a lot of yourself. You're sending long text message and you're not getting replies. You're talking about how you feel about a certain situation or subject and you're not being heard. You try your best to say things in a different way. You try explaining it differently in hopes that your spouse or the person you're considering is going to hear what you're saying. But unfortunately, it's like nothing is changing. Well, I can tell you right now, and I want you to hear me on this, it is not your fault. It's not your fault. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with anything you're doing. You're doing everything right. The problem is that you are dealing with a narcissist. You're dealing with somebody who thrives off of chaos, confusion, and control. When you are explaining yourself to the narcissist, and again, back then you didn't even know that they were a narcissist because you thought that the person that you were dealing with was a normal person. You thought that they were just a person who has their challenges, who has their difficulties, who has their things about them, and they're not any different than you are. That's what you thought, right? Well, unfortunately, you have to understand that narcissists, they have a disorder. They have what's known as narcissistic personality disorder. This disorder allows for them to to allow for them to have what's known as selective hearing. What is selective hearing? Selective hearing is when the narcissist hears everything that you say. Like when you're talking to the narcissist and you're explaining, they hear everything that you're saying, believe it or not. But the truth is that they choose not to care about what you're saying. They choose to select only the things that they want to hear, and they choose to hold on to those things and then forget all the other things that you have said. It's sad, unfortunately. It's unfortunately sad, but it's true. It's what narcissists do. It's what they thrive off of. So when you're explaining to the narcissist, they're just picking out what they want to hear, number one. The second thing is that narcissists, you have to understand that when it comes down to them hearing what you have to say, what narcissists also do is that they know what makes you tick because they've been watching you all throughout your life. They've been studying you. They've been seeing your habits. It gives them supply, is what I'm trying to say. It gives the narcissist supply when you're explaining to them. And what is supply for those who are new here? And if you're new, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule or whatever you're doing to join me here on this channel. What is supply? Supply is anything that gives the narcissist energy. It can be a pet. It can be going to school. It could be you talking to them and them not listening to you. Yes, that gives them supply. It could be food. It could be a TV show. It could be going to work. It could be going to the bathroom. Supply is anything that gives the narcissist energy. Even going to the store. Even anything. You can name anything. Pick anything. It gives the narcissist supply. It gives them energy. Right? Without supply, narcissists cannot survive. Oh my gosh, I should say that again. Without supply, narcissists cannot survive. because they need supply. And a big supply for narcissists is people. That's why they need people to regulate themselves. They need people to tell them how much of a great person that they are. They need people to surround them, because if they don't have people, then they don't have anything, because they need it for supply. Right? So you have to understand, this is how narcissists operate. This is what they do. This is their life. They need supply, right? So when you're explaining yourself to the narcissist, that's supply. That's filling them up with energy. When you're not explaining yourself to the narcissist, you're still giving them energy, but it's not full on energy. It's not as much energy as they look for, right? So now, when it comes down to supply, what you have to understand is that with narcissists, there's positive supply and there's also negative supply, right? When you're explaining yourself to a narcissist, or let's say that you guys are having sex or something, I don't know, whatever positive thing you want to name, that's positive supply. Now, ignoring the narcissist and not talking to them and not giving them any attention, that is negative supply, because it's negative because you're not giving them what they are looking forward to. I hope that makes sense. If it does, or if it doesn't, you can always ask me, reach out to me, and I can explain more detail. But what you have to understand is that the narcissist, all throughout the relationship and throughout your time knowing them, you've always felt as though you were never being heard. You always felt like you were explaining more than you needed to explain. And the reason is because the narcissists, they do not care about you. They don't care about anybody. They don't care about their siblings. They don't care about their family. They don't care about their job, even though they said that they love their job. They don't care about anything. All they care about is what they can take from people for that time. Now, somebody is going to ask the question, but I've been with the narcissist, my husband or my wife, for 40-something years. Well, the truth is, and that may be true, the truth is that you don't realize it, but the narcissist that you've been with for 40 years, I can tell you right now that they're doing a lot of things behind your back that you don't know about. Now, if you were to confront the narcissist and ask them, are you doing things behind my back? Chances are they're not going to give you the answer that they know that you are looking for. Because narcissists, they don't want to lose control of their victims. They don't want to lose control over the fact that they don't have you anymore, right? Because you have some sort of supply that they've been craving up, that they've been feeding off of for many years. That's why they've kept you around. It's because of the supply that you offer them, right? And so you have to understand that even though they might have you around, doesn't mean that they love you, because narcissists don't love. They don't have the love that you have within yourself. That's positive love. That's the love of God, right? Narcissists don't have that type of love. Their love is conditional. It's transactional. It's give me what I want right now, and I will love you for that time. And then once that time passes, they won't love you any longer, because that's how narcissists thrive. They want what they don't have. And when they get what they want, they no longer want it anymore, right? Because narcissists live for the present moment. You live in the present moment. There's a big difference, and I'm going to explain what that means. When you live in the present moment, it means that you live in it and you relish it, and you don't want anything to take you away from that moment, because you want to take that moment for what it is, and you're grateful for every second of that moment that you are in. Living for the present moment means that you're in the moment for what it offers you for that time. So if something better was to come along for you during that moment, that means that you're going to drop that thing and you're going to go away to something else. Think about the narcissist now. The narcissist only loves you for the present moment. So that means if they find somebody, or not even if they find somebody, chances are they've already found someone, right? All the narcissist has to do is say, you know what? I don't want to be in this relationship with you anymore. And then they move on to that next person and they leave you like nothing happened. And it's because that's what narcissists do. They're always on the prowl. They're always looking for the next thing, the next supply, the next thing that will give them the most supply. But I can tell you right now, the narcissist is going to learn sooner or later that not all that glitters is gold, that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, because you can't go around blowing up other people's lives and expecting that there won't be a big heavy price to pay, because there will be, and narcissists will get that. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, maybe not even in the next 2 years. But I can tell you right now, the narcissist is getting their karma every single day. You know why? Because every single day, the narcissist is either manipulating someone, gaslighting someone, shifting the blame onto someone for something they did or didn't even do. They're smear campaigning someone behind their back. They're triangulating someone by pitting them against somebody else that does or doesn't even exist. They are financially abusing someone, claiming that they don't have money, but yet they're squirreling away their money. And then that person's paying all their money. And then once their money runs out, then the narcissist is gone. They're either physically abusing someone, they're spiritually abusing someone, they're confusing somebody with anything that they can just to throw them off and keep them in the trauma bond or keep them in the narcissistic fog. Narcissist is doing this every single day. You may not see it and you may not even understand it, but the truth is that this is what narcissists do. So I can assure you that throughout the relationship with the narcissist, you are not being heard. And it's not because you were a bad person or you weren't telling the narcissist something of substance. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that the narcissist heard you, but they just don't care about what you're saying. And they just select what they want to hear from what you're saying. And then they will use that if it benefits them at a later date. If it works for them, they will use that. And then they will look to use that against you at a later date. Because that's how narcissists thrive. They don't care about anybody. They don't care about what you have to say. Unless it benefits them for a purpose, they'll use it. But usually, 9 out of 10 times, they don't care what you're saying, right? So the question is, how if you're not being heard in the narcissist, in your relationship with the narcissist, whether it's your parents that you've been trying to get them to understand you for the last 20 years and you're their child, and you've been trying to get them to hear you, and yet they still give you the silent treatment. They still shift the blame, saying it's your fault, or they manipulate you and twist it and say that you're the problem, that you should learn how to listen to us first. Or whether it's your sibling, your brother, or your sister, and you've been trying to get them to understand your way of living for years, and yet they still manage to make you the problem. Yet they still triangulate you and pit you against another sibling and say you should be like that sibling. You should be like brother Jacob, or you should be like sister Elizabeth. You should be like him or her. They try to make you feel small. Or at work, if you're dealing with the narcissistic boss and you've been trying to get them to notice your talents and your skills and your abilities, or you've been trying to tell them that this same employee doesn't listen to you, this same employee is bullying you and they're being disrespectful, and yet the narcissistic boss is just closing their ears to you, and then they're saying, oh, you figure it out, or if you don't want to be here, you can leave, and now you feel as though you don't have any other options. Now you feel uncomfortable. Now you feel as though you can't speak your mind. You can't say what you want to say because you don't feel like you're being listened to. Well, the truth is that this is what the narcissist thrives off of, because they know that if they don't listen to you, it makes them that they're still in control of you. That they still have you under their thumb because they know that you need something from them. But they know the narcissist knows that they cannot give you what it is that you're asking them for. Because that's not how narcissists are. They're transactional, right? It's what you can do for them. And they don't care. That's why, think about it. Think about this for a second. When you're dealing with the narcissist, when you were explaining something and you said something to the effect of, but I did that for you I've been doing that for the last 10 years. I've been helping you. I've been doing this. And then you were probably met with something to the effect of, well, I didn't ask you to do that. You didn't have to do that for me. You chose to do that. And then it turns into a big argument. And then you're trying to explain yourself. The narcissist is being filled up with supply. And then your energy is being drained from you. And then now you're confused because then they smirk at you. And now you're trying to And then they're saying, I got this one. This one doesn't realize what I'm doing to them. That's what they're saying in their mind. So yeah, that's how narcissists thrive. That's what they do. That is what they're doing right now, actually. As I'm creating this video right now and you're listening to it, it's what they're doing right now. They do the exact same things. Narcissists all play by the same playbook. You've just got different narcissists. You got the covert narcissist, you got the overt narcissist, you got the malignant narcissist, the grandiose narcissist, if I didn't say that in one of my other videos. You got the spiritual narcissist. You got all these different types of narcissists, but they do the exact same things, but it's just at a different rate because there are different narcissists, right? The covert narcissist is very passive aggressive, so they'll never tell you how they feel about you until it hits a point where they need to tell you, and that's usually at the end of when they're about to discard you for someone else. The overt narcissist will be passive aggressive as well, but they will tell you to your face how they feel about you. They're more spoken than the covert narcissist. The malignant narcissist will tell you, but in a very aggressive way that will make you panic and will make you scared for your life. You will know when you're dealing with a malignant narcissist. You're going to feel like you're walking around on eggshells. With all narcissists, you're going to feel like you're walking around on eggshells. But more so with the malignant narcissist, you're going to be scared to come home because because they make you feel on edge, right? That's what the malignant narcissist does. They might physically attack you because, or they will physically attack you because it's a malignant narcissist and they're very dangerous like that. The grandiose narcissist, you have to be careful with this one because with them, what they do is they have a grandiose sense, a sense of grandiosity where they're happy one moment and then the next minute they're unhappy. They switch back and forth very good because they're grandiose like that. To the general public, they're happy, they're smiley, they're bubbly, and then behind closed doors, they're a complete monster. They're something totally different. The covert narcissist is the same way, but they do it in a very passive-aggressive way, right? And they don't tell you. They have an uncanny way of not saying things the way that they're supposed to be said because they want people to read their minds, right? They want people to give everything to them, and then they don't have to give anything to anyone else. The religious narcissist can be either or. They can be quiet or they can be loud or they can be angry. They can be either or. And yeah, that's how all narcissists act. But what I need you guys to understand is that when it comes down to being heard, you will never be heard with the narcissist. So don't try and change anything about yourself to make them hear you, to think that they will change for you, because they won't. It won't get any better. So when you find out that when you come to the point of no return where you feel as though you're not being heard at all, your best bet is to just leave the relationship. Now I know that that's easier said than done because you may be dealing with a malignant narcissist and you have no way out. But I've talked about in one of my videos, how to get away from the narcissist. If you're dealing with a malignant narcissist, what I would suggest, especially because you may feel scared to go home, you may feel scared to approach them, don't tell them you're leaving. Tell your friends, tell your family, close friends rather, that you trust. Let them know that you need help getting away from them. And then what you do is you slowly start removing stuff from the house. Take as much stuff as you can and then move on. Don't give them any attention. Don't tell them that you've left. Just move on. Just leave them alone. If you're trying to get away from the covert narcissist, just don't, again, with narcissists in general, don't tell them what you're about to do. Because if you tell them what you're about to do, they have an uncanny way rather of planning on what to do next. Because they know what to do. They know when their targets are catching on, right? So that's your best bet against a narcissist. Don't tell them anything. Tell the people that you know personally what you're about to do so you can get the help that you need. And if you need more help, you can reach out to me. You can call me. You can text me. You can email me, even at my email, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. So yeah, guys, I hope that this video helped you out. If you really did like it, subscribe and like and comment. Share this video with somebody who you think could use the knowledge. If you feel that you know someone that's not being heard, if whether it's at work, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's somebody that you've just met, if they've told you that their spouse doesn't hear them and they're trying to talk to you and they need advice, you can bring them to my channel. You can tell them to message me or call me, and I'd be more than happy to help them. So yeah, I hope that this video helped you out. I more than appreciate if you follow me on my next video. I'd be more than happy to hear from you. Like, subscribe, comment, drop a comment if you can relate to some of the things I'm saying. If you feel as though you're not being heard, I know that throughout my marriage with my ex-wife, I wasn't heard at all. I could be sitting on the couch with her and be talking to her, and then she'd just be looking away from me and nodding her head like and then I would say, so what did I just say? And then she would make up things I didn't even say and give me word salad and say things I never said. And then I would say, okay, so you weren't listening to me. And then she would say, I was. You don't have to take everything so seriously. And then I'm sitting there like, what? And then I'd be getting confused like I always was when I was with her, right? So yeah, guys, that's the video for today. You are not being heard. And I look forward to see you on the next video. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope that you have a good day and look forward to seeing you on the next video. Okay, thank you.